don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. We're in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, local television right here in North Alabama, channel 182. That's on Charter Communications. You also find us worldwide on Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you, however you are listening to us. We appreciate it. And Paula, you need to listen to this really good because we have the top 25. Top 25 is announced on Fridays, and we are a radio station that the listeners are the boss of us, Paula. They tell us what to do. And so what they do is they get on the web or they download the apps. And what they'll do, by the way, it's all free downloads. So you can go on your Apple phone, you can just type in IC Radio Media. Once you get to the Apple store, download the app, IC Radio Media. And then on Android, just type in IC Radio, and that pulls it up as well. So what they do, Paula, they're going ahead and they'll pick a song. And there's a place where you can just go in and just find a song that you want to hear, and it automatically plays. And I got kind of tickled at one of our listeners. She said, "Well, I'd like to do that, honey, but I don't want to put you to any extra work." And I said, "No, really, you're helping me. It's automated." So once they put those songs in there and they request songs, you may request one from Paula. Paula's going to be talking about her music in just a few minutes, and then the most requests are on the top 25. And it just goes up and down. You just never know what it's going to be. Somebody may be number one and slip number 25 next week, and then pick it back up at number 2 the next week. It's pretty sporadic. It just depends on the folks, our listeners, and when you get on there and start requesting. I have a very special guest with me right now. She's no stranger to the show or to this station, Paula. So good to be with you. Then the name of your group is Purpose. Purpose?
That's correct. Yes.
And Paula McDougle. Now, let's talk about your music group, first of all. Where are you located?
We are from Russellville, Alabama, over here on the northwestern part of the state. Mm-hmm. So we've been traveling as a group we actually just past weekend just celebrated our 11th year in ministry, an official ministry, had a big event in Russellville this past weekend. And it was a great night, a great turnout, and we're just looking forward to seeing what year 12 has got ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be better than 2020.
Absolutely.
But I've been talking with lots of folks, and whether you're in the music industry or a restaurant business, and what I'm hearing is people, they're tired of being cooped up, and so people are talking about being out more. And they want to go to church, and they want to go to your concert events. They just want to get out and hear good news. And you guys have some good news.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. In fact, our event this past weekend, this is 2020. We had an event last year, 2021, which was the year after COVID, but it was still so borderline COVID that people were still nervous. So our crowd wasn't as large last year as it had been in the past, but this past weekend, we had people, honestly, that have not been out probably in a year or more. A particular couple that we know very well that supports our ministry for years, and they've told us time and time again, we just don't go out anywhere. And we were very surprised this past weekend. One of the first people that showed up at our event was this couple who hasn't been out of their home in a very long time. So we're just thrilled that people are finally getting to the place that they feel more comfortable. Whether you still wear a mask or don't wear a mask, it doesn't matter. Just, use your own wisdom, what you want to do, and get out there and come be with us. So
absolutely. You got to get out. We're meant to be social beings. We got to get out.
That's exactly right. So like to be out and see what's going on,
Paula, for folks that are listening to you the first time on our station and on television as well, describe your group. What's it about?
Well, Purpose is a trio, and we came together out of our home church, as I said, back over 11 years ago. We actually sang in our home church for about a year or so. And just we're called the church trio, and began to feel a drawing to go outside the church. Our scripture verse that we base ourselves on is Romans 8:28, that says, "For we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose." That's where we got our name. We go in and we tell our stories, where the Lord has brought us from. There are times in our lives that maybe we've gone through things that we wish we had not gone through, but God is able to take all those things and turn them around for his glory somehow. And it may be something that we've done, caused our own selves the heartache to go through, but God is still able to take the hard things in our lives and maybe sad times in our lives, and he's able to turn those things around for his glory. And that's what we do on the weekends. We go and we share of where the Lord has brought us from, things that we've gone through for, and that he's been able to turn around, that we can use to share with others who may find themselves going through the same type things that we've gone through in the past. But then the Lord can use us all still for his glory. And so that's the bottom line to our group. We're just a ministry team that we love to go out. Now, our group is a little different than maybe some others. We don't really call ourselves singers. Now, there are a lot of good singers out there, but we go in and we share. We do use singing and music as a tool, but one of our guys is a minister, and in fact, like this particular weekend that's coming up, we'll go into a church and we'll be doing their homecoming, and Tim in our group, Tim Williams, he'll be preaching the morning service, and we'll be doing the music. Byron Gann is one of the other members, along with myself. So we go into churches and preach, and we sing and minister and just share the love of God and that good news, as you said.
I love that word purpose. I've just always loved it. Because a lot of it, because of COVID, the suicide rate was up. People were getting more depressed.
Yeah.
And I just think purpose is such a good word, because when people are considering suicide, they think, I have no purpose. Why am I here? What's the deal?
Right.
So why? But I just think everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a reason to be on earth.
Right. That's true. Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord never created a mistake. He's got a plan for everybody.
And that's what I like to tell people. If I've got a purpose, everybody else I know has a purpose. Absolutely. But yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's good that I think people are just beginning to, we want to, there's a vibrancy I feel that's coming out now. And
Right.
but we try not to dwell on, because some really good things happened of COVID. I know some terrible things happened. People lost
Right.
their lives, but some really good things happened. I know our radio station flourished. And then we had
Right.
other things that happened. The show was doing well. And that, I don't know, sometimes we have to take ourselves out of it. Do you feel that way, Paula?
Yes. 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 It's because we're flesh beings and human, we try to take care of everything, but that's not really God's plan. He's like, we're his tools and his puppets, and it's really kind of, he has this God complex, and he kind of thinks it's about him. And so if we kind of move ourselves out of the way sometimes and let God do the leading and the guiding and the directing, we'll find that things will go a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. I think so too, because I'm a people person. The hardest thing for me with COVID is not being able to hug anymore.
Right.
And that, I'm sorry, but that's just not the same. High fives and all that stuff. It's just fist bump.
Elbow bumps. Yeah.
Forget that. I didn't like that. And I really did not like, see, I have asthma. And so I had to really stay in. I did get COVID, but I'm okay now. Everything's cool. It was not fun. So
No,
it was kind of rough.
all of our guys had COVID, and my husband had COVID, and it was not a good time. But thank the Lord, he brought us through, and we're still going. So thank him for that. So
that's just another hurdle that we had to jump. So how
yes.
do you jump hurdles? I mean, you've got everything planned just right. Let's use a wedding, for example. Every bride plans the wedding. Okay, so I planned my wedding, and so I mean, it was just down to a T. I knew exactly how everything was supposed to be, what have you, and I didn't know this, which was actually a good thing. All of a sudden, I hear music just comes from nowhere, and I'm looking around. You can see me in the video. I'm looking around, and so my husband starts singing to me, and
Uh,
that was a great thing that was not planned. Of course, I look kind of goofy on the video looking around, but anyway, it was pretty awesome. So a lot of times things that are not planned are the best things that can happen to you.
right, right. I did that very same thing to my husband when we married over 7 years ago. He didn't know. And I was outside the sanctuary doors and they began the music and I began singing and he heard my voice and knew it was me. And then I walked in singing going down the aisle. So it was a fun time. It was surprises. Sometimes those surprises are not so good. I'll just tell you this past weekend, as I just told you, we had our 11th anniversary event here in Russellville, and we every year when we have our anniversary, we typically debut a new T-shirt, and just about 5-6 days before the anniversary event, our printer informed us that she wasn't going to get our shirts done this year, and we were so disappointed. And we're like, okay, we can get through it. We can get through it because this weekend we were debuting a brand new project with the group,
Oh,
Classics and Favorites album, Volume 2. And they were shipped out overnight to us last Wednesday. And Thursday, they didn't get here. Friday, they didn't get here. Saturday, they did not get here. They arrived yesterday. So we were a little bit disappointed, greatly disappointed that things didn't seem to go our way, but it didn't hinder the night. And we just have to, again, forget it's not about us sometimes. And sometimes things don't go the way we have things planned. But again, it worked out and it was still a great night. And I'm just now shipping out CDs to people. It's all good.
and make sure you ship out some here too, because we love.
I need to do that. I need to get your address when we get through so I can send you the new project. So we'll do
Absolutely. Tell
that.
me about the new project. That sounds always exciting.
It is exciting. We have actually recorded two new projects this year. This is the first one to have just come out. And about every year to every other year, we do what we call favorites and classics. And again, this is volume 2. This where we go back and we pick older songs that may not be so old, but they're really favorites of ours. So this particular album, we really went back, and there's 2 or 3 old Henson songs on here that people maybe haven't heard in a while. There was a group back several years ago called the McGrooters that were very popular. Most of those people have passed away now, but we've got a Magruder song on there. I'm trying to think. Oh, the old Goodmans. We've got an old Goodman song on there. This has got some really good old projects, songs on there, and then some that aren't quite as old. But we're tickled about our new project. And then this November we will have our second project to come out. Now it doesn't have a title yet. That's something yet to come. We've got to be coming up with that, but there will be songs on there. As some of our other projects in the past that some of the members have written some of the songs on this new project. So that will be in November's. But this new project is the volume 2 of the classics and favorites. And we're looking forward to everybody getting one in their hands and listening to it and enjoy these old songs.
That sounds good. We can't wait to get our hands on it. That's going to be really exciting. How do you describe your music? Here at this station, we play Southern gospel, we play Western, we country, and there's a little bit of jazz in there too. So we play it all. So how is your music described?
We would be described more of a Southern gospel, but now when we go into churches, we actually will typically in the early part of our, for the lack of a better terminology, set, we will actually do a praise and worship session and of 2 or 3 songs. So we're a little versatile in that we can do some praise and worship type things, but then again, but we're typically just thought of as Southern gospel. Somebody's told us in the past that we're kind of a mix of the old Hensons and the Crab family. Somewhere in between there, you mix all that together, and somewhere you come up with purpose. So
Well, that's a good mix. It really is. You mentioned the Goodmans, and Vestal is from this area.
yes,
Yeah, her
she was.
sister Bobby and my mother were friends,
Oh,
and so they went to school together and what have you. But Vestal, yeah, she was as a matter of fact, a stretch of Highway 75 going from Geraldine into Fife is Vestal Goodman Highway.
oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, this is a small stretch, but yeah, she was really awesome, and so
Mhm.
we just love that kind of music, and we still play some of her stuff here too.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That's
times have changed though, haven't they?
yes, ma'am. They have.
Southern gospel's changed just a little bit.
Well, there is a big I guess I hate to call it argument, but you see people on Facebook that'll talk about they listen to different stations and you hear all the different Southern gospel and country gospel and some more contemporary style gospel, and so but the word's still there, so the word's still the same, so the bottom line to it, but the purpose is more of a Southern gospel type group.
But you know something, Paula, I'm not seeing that much of a difference. The only difference I see is all the guys aren't wearing the same suit. I mean,
Well,
that's
that's true.
that's all I could say.
Mhm.
You remember
Yeah.
those days? And even the women would wear, a part of their clothes would kind of match the guys' suits as well.
Right.
Back in the-
Well, my guys still sometimes this past weekend, they wore the same suit this past weekend, but that's not all the time. But yeah, I'm still old school enough that they don't have to wear it, but it sure does look classy to me when they're on stage. Everybody looks good, all dressed up the same.
Well, everything is a cycle. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is. I remember
Yes,
I
it
used to
is.
love, and usually young girls, especially, always kind of go back, they skip over their mother and they go back to the way their grandmother dressed. And I always loved the look from the 40s during
Uh-huh.
my grandmother's era. They wear those nice suits and they just looked so classy, the hats. And I remember my granddad talking about going to the movies, and he would say, I'm sitting back here. I would have a good spot. I could see the screen real good. And here would come a woman with a big hat on. Block my view, because they dressed up even to go to the movies back in those days. But
Right.
things change. You never know. In 20 years, I may go back to wearing suits again. You just never know.
That's exactly right. It'll circle back around.
It always does. Let's talk a
Mhm.
little bit about today's world and what's in it. It's a little crazy. It's a little topsy-turvy out there, would you say?
I would, yes, very much so. The world we live in is definitely a time that I believe the Bible talks about. We're in the last days, and that there's not a night you don't turn on the TV that someone's being killed by a sibling or a parent or a child, and it's just so sad. And the craziness, the left can't get along with the right can't get along with the left, and it is concerning times that we live in at different points.
It's concerning to me that all this confusion seems to be on both sides, though. It's not just one side.
Yes,
anymore. It's
that
just
is
all
so
over.
true. That is true. It didn't, when you listen to no matter what side you listen to, they've got their argument, they've got it strong while the other side is wrong, and then the other side's got their argument why that first side is wrong. And oh goodness, I'd love to see a time that people just do what's right, and let's just go back with just doing what's right, and not arguing. Let's just do what's right. And I know that that's hard for people, and the devil doesn't want that, but I'd love to just
Well,
see a time where we
it's
could
all
go
like
back and do it.
this to create confusion and division, and he's working on
Yeah.
that right now. Now, both my granddads, one dad was a Democrat and one was a Republican when I was a kid growing up, but they didn't get into fights about it. They would sit on the
Right.
porch and they would just talk about, my granddad would say, Mr. Shears. They called each other Mr. Shears and Mr. Bearden. That was, they had a lot of respect for each other. And one would say, Mr. Shears, what's your take on, political, what's going on in the political world and all that. And they would just talk about it. Nobody got mad. Nobody called anybody names. Nobody did.
Right.
But I think Facebook, maybe social media may have messed some of that up, because it's easy to be a keyboard warrior and put somebody down when you're behind that
Right.
screen. It's easier
Very,
to do.
very, very true. A lot of people's feelings and hearts are hurt, even by texting. You can text someone and they just read it
The wrong way.
and putting right. Well, they can read it and put the accent on the wrong word, which will change the whole meaning. And texting and again, we even like Facebook, social media. When you post something, it just depends on how they emphasize what words could be what changes the meaning. And it's a great tool. It is a great tool that can be taken so wrongly and hurt people. So I do miss the days of just talk on the telephone, talk to your neighbor, talk to your friends, and that. But we won't ever go back to that. I'm afraid. I'm afraid we won't.
I like just picking up the phone, talking to somebody, because I'm a slow texter. It takes me forever. And then I have to be careful what it with spell check, because there's
Yeah,
a word in there the wrong way as well.
right.
I got a story for you. One of my friends called me one day and she just said, I'd sent her a text and she said, what are you mad at me about? I just sent her a text. It was something really simple, like the sky's blue or something. It was just no big deal. And I said, what are you talking about? I started laughing. I thought, I didn't know if she's joking. I don't know what she's talking about. And she said, you were screaming at me. And I said, when did I scream at you? And she said, you just sent me a text and you screamed. And I said, no, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. What it was, I put everything in caps by
Very
accident.
all
And I didn't
caps.
know I was doing that. And it came out the wrong way. And I said, you know what? I'm not sending you any more text. I'm calling you from now on. I don't care how busy you are. You're going to get the right message this way. So
Right.
all that
Right.
saying to say this, how can we get the right message out to everybody?
That is a good question. And when you could find the right person that can give us that answer, I want to be given that
I want to
answer.
know too.
That's exactly right. It's very hard. And as you say, spell check, you never know. I'll hit enter and all of a sudden something's changed and it can be embarrassing at times, but I don't know that that's a hard answer to question to answer because of again not hearing someone's tone and voice through a text has caused a lot of problems with a lot of people. And I don't know. We're never going to go back. Texting's going to always be there from now. But I don't know the answer really to that question. Just maybe try to talk to people a little bit more than text.
I had a guy who was on the show one day, and it was a political show, and so he was talking about politics and and how people get things wrong and that kind of thing. And so I just asked him blank. I said, or he told me he said, I think that we could lose our electricity. That could happen. And I said, you know what? Think about how good that would be if we did. And he said, well, you wouldn't be able to curl your hair anymore. I mean, he would say stuff like that. I said, but think about this. Nobody would be on Facebook hurting anybody's feelings. That could be a good thing. If we could do without, if the electricity went off for at least a week. I mean, we'd have to do stuff with our freezer and our food and stuff like that. But that just might tone things down a little bit if we did lose electricity. People got along pretty well. Not always perfect, but I've heard my grandparents talk about those good old days.
Right. Right. I agree. I do agree. It is a time that we really need to be loving each other and spending more time with each other and and you can't do it through occasionally texting someone or getting on social media and bashing somebody. It's not showing very much love. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got about 4 minutes left in this segment. So let's talk a little bit more about your music. And do you have any events coming up pretty soon in this area?
Well, this upcoming weekend, we're actually going to be in, now I don't know exactly when this is going to air, but this upcoming weekend, we're going to be in Huntsville, Alabama. There's a big event in Huntsville this Friday and Saturday night. That's the 13th and 14th, I think, maybe, or 12th and 13th. This Friday and Saturday. It's the Gospel Music Jubilee that's going to be held at the Event Center at the Roto-Rooter Center in Huntsville. And there are lots of groups coming in, and I'm sure you're very familiar with New Ground from over around
Robbie, yeah,
right, Robbie and them. They're going to be
how are you ever going to keep Robbie straight? I don't know.
Well, you know what? I have to give her all the credit she can have because she's trying to keep Dale straight. And if you can't,
True.
she's got her hands full. But they're going to be the headline group this weekend for both nights. And so that's going to be this upcoming Friday night and Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, we'll be in Trinity, Alabama at Grace Fellowship, I think is the name of the church. And then next weekend, we're going to be in Rogersville, Alabama, the Sunday week from now at a church called New Beginnings Church. So we're going to be some other places toward the end of the month, but people can go to our Facebook page, to make it easy to find. If you put in purpose.al as in Alabama, if you just put in Purpose, looking for the group Purpose, by the time you and I have another interview a year and a half from now, they'll still be looking for Purpose. So purpose.al will find out, and our dates are pinned at the top. So
that's good. What would you like to tell the folks before you go? You got about 2 minutes.
Well, we would love for people to go check out our Purpose page. We do have a new song that's out to radio right now, and I'm going to get this song to you. It's called I've Just Touched Jesus, and it's a beautiful song that I'm thankful that the Lord let me write. It is a story about the woman in the Bible with the issue of blood, and it's the story told from her side. It's from her perspective. And so I hope very quickly when I get this to you that it'll be played on the station and that there'll be some people to hear that. So that is a new song that's out to radio, and it's getting some good airplay, and we're tickled about it. So we want people to listen. And there is actually on our Facebook page a live video that was recorded in Pigeon Forge of that song back last Christmas. And so we're asking people to watch that and share it and be blessed through the song.
Absolutely. Anything you would like to be airplayed here at this station, you can send it MP3 to info@icradio.media. Paula,
Okay.
thank you so much for being on the show today. It was great to see you again today.
Thank you, Miss Donna. I appreciate it so very much. God bless you.
God bless you too. Folks, thank you so much for watching Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio, in Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 in North Alabama, and that's on Charter Communications. You also find us on Worldwide TV. Yeah, Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching. You're a big part of our world, and we appreciate your sending off. If you would love to hear Paula and her group, all you have to do is go to the website, icradio.media. You can download the apps, or just going ahead and just find their songs straight from our website. And I'm pretty sure they would appreciate that too. Remember, the top 25 is coming up again on Friday. Paula, again, thank you so much for being on the show with us today, and you take care.
You also. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other